So it's kind of been a crazy
Okay,
week.
we're live in case you
Oh,
needed
okay.
needed to be told.
Nope, nope, that works. I told you we'd go live, so I'm good. It's been a crazy week. My dog has been sick.
Oh,
She has a autoimmune condition, which in her case, in this case, means that she is her red blood cell count is low.
hmm.
So so she's on medicine. Well, the now how that affects our podcast or our live stream and me being late is when I got home, my wife was on the phone with her friend in New York who has a dog like ours,
Hmm.
and so they were commiserating. So I ended up talking to the friend, and I wasn't able to eat. It took me a minute to get everything prepped so I could eat.
Hmm.
And then I got a phone call from the car dealership because I'm gonna go look at a car tomorrow. I may buy a new car tomorrow.
Oh, what are you going to get?
Well, if I tomorrow I'm
Maybe.
looking at a a Volkswagen GTI,
Oh, okay.
little four door. I say little, it's probably about the size of my car, but a four door hatchback job.
All right.
So yeah, I mean I don't know if I'm gonna get it. You never know. I've never driven one of these cars, but they're getting one in, and my boss.
What you read? What have you read about them that makes you want one?
Well, they're pretty quick, and
Hmm.
they are nice cars, and they have there are tons of good reviews on YouTube.
Hmm.
I have a Subaru WRX, which is quick, and it's four wheel drive, so I would lose four wheel drive, but I kind of want a hatchback.
Hmm.
I kind of wanted a pickup for a while, and I
Hmm.
realized, good grief, pickups are expensive.
Yeah, and they are really they're more unsafe and cost as much, and yeah, this
If I could
not probably not built as well. Yeah.
if I could find a truck like yours, Ellis, that was
Hmm.
new or newish, I would
Hmm.
buy it. Ellis has the problem is all the trucks now are huge,
Yeah.
and they won't fit in my garage, and I don't want a car that won't fit in my garage.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. You
And
want to get it
so,
off the street.
oh yeah, and so my solution has been if to look at this hatchback, and I've had hatchback cars before, and it's like you get a lot of cargo space out of that versus
Hmm.
my small trunk.
Hmm.
Um, so I'm gonna go look at it. But what happened is I texted the salesman that my boss kind of hooked me up with,
Hmm.
and he called me back. I didn't
Oh
expect a
yeah.
phone call, but it's like, hey, we got a live one.
Yep.
So
Oh yeah.
it's like money on the money, and I talked to him for a minute, and I told him, I said, well, I got a Subaru
Oh man.
WRX. He was talking about, this is, he
He,
was just
he's
talking.
he's try, he's trying to time it. He's trying to when does he jerk the line?
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly. Well, the yeah, so and he was talking about they kind of have a joke that some cars are boy cars and some cars are girl cars.
That's
Now it was
right.
based on the way that they come in because it just came off the truck today. So this is based off the way they come off the truck, but it's a factory. They put like a some sort of like a protectant on it, just a
Uh
wrapper
huh.
basically.
Uh huh.
And for some reason, some of them are blue and some of them are pink. And he's like, "Well, this is definitely a boy's car," and the wrapper is blue.
Ah.
And so I told him, I said, "Well," and he said, "If you drive it, you'll know it's definitely a boy car."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I drive a Subaru WRX, and that is definitely." I wanted to. I almost said it's not only a boy's car; it's a man's car, but I didn't
There
say
you go.
that. I didn't say that. So we'll see. I mean, I don't relish the idea of spending my free time at a car dealership.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
it's like getting a root canal, but
Just
whatever. I mean, you got to.
yeah, just try to pay attention to everything that's happening. Mad Men. Always kind of like was mystified. How does a Don Draper get created? Well, one of the little minor background notes that they just kind of skim into is that the fact that he did sell cars for a time,
Oh
and
yeah, that makes sense.
that right there, that as far as wanting to be an advertising man, there's a big help.
God, I think I'd be a great car salesman.
You probably would be.
I think I would be. I think I would be. If my work ever goes belly up, I'm gonna try it.
That's an idea.
You know,
No, you understand making a good presentation of yourself and all that. You like people, and yeah.
Oh, you go to somebody's car lot and the guy looks like you're like, are you selling me a car? Or are you selling me weed? Come on, dude.
Yeah. Don't be a hippie.
Exactly. Nobody wants to be a hippie or a commie.
Yeah.
Anyway, I show you my page. Did you see my page?
I did see your page. I gave you a like somewhere. I forget where, Tumblr or somewhere.
I have been so busy, and I need to scan that. I've been so busy at work. Work has just been crazy. My boss has given me so much work, but you know what I did? I did let me think if I can talk about this.
Okay, think about it.
I managed to wrangle by using inside information. I was able to wrangle a raise for some people. So
Very good.
And probably myself, honestly, but that part hadn't happened. When you do raises, there's like the hey, all these people need raises because they're not making enough. You don't want to be in that because that's the run of the mill muckety muck raise. You want to be in the you deserve a raise.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll see. I mean, but I'm doing so much crap at my work.
You need it because if Joe Biden even gets a % of what he wants with his tax package that he's presenting, and who knows, there are Republican/Democrat alleged party in opposition is even going to kick about it. It's going to be like trillions in tax raises.
Yeah. Well,
and what's that going to do to inflation? So it's a double whammy. It's like there goes your raise, and there goes your you can't get ahead with that kind of operation working on you.
No, but yeah, no. Luckily, I don't know. I mean, I'm my wife has a good job, so I'm pretty fortunate. But man, and we're lucky because we've paid our house off. Which I say lucky. I mean, we paid on it for 20 years, but
yeah. About the usual timing, I guess. Yeah, pay it off in that sort of time.
It was a 30-year loan, but we paid it off a little bit early.
Very good.
But that in some way kind of insulates us from a little bit of the pain.
Oh, it insulates you from a lot. That's your main. That's the main way a middle class person can honestly say they've got a little bit of wealth.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right about that. That is having a house is. And don't get me wrong, there are people that don't own houses that probably shouldn't own houses. Not because they don't deserve them, but just because there's there's a lot of upkeep and expense.
Oh yeah, achievement at Christmas. I keep waiting for Department of Safety and whatever measures is out there to penalize me for the look of my place. I've got roofing that needed to be replaced 3 years ago.
Do you think your house looks that bad? I don't think your house looks.
You haven't seen it since it got its biggest devastation when we had those winds that were just basically cyclone winds, really ruffled up that roof. And I went up there and hammered it all down and actually painted it. I think you were laughing one time at the idea of painting your roof, just so I could paint the black ones and kind of like solidify the appearance and not look so shabby. And that was a lot of work. It still looks like complete hell, but boy, I tell you what, before it looked like, my God, does a witch live there? What the hell?
I still wonder that.
Yeah. I've got my own. I mumble enough.
Maybe you want to foster the idea of the witch lives there. Have you considered that? Why does
I'm not too anti that, considering some of the elements in this neighborhood. I just keep them at bay a little bit. Hey, see this thing here that says Spry?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You don't have shingles, do you?
No, but I looked up the side effects on this, and it's interesting. My dentist, the person that cleans my teeth, whatever you call those people, they
Dentist.
yeah, well, not my official dental assistant or
dental
hygienist.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she gave me a big sell. You know, if she was selling me cars, I guess she would have sold me. And I bought the some
Spry.
Yeah, I bought this, and I bought some toothpaste that has xylitol in it, because that's what she was telling me. Try xylitol for instead of toothpaste, and try these xylitol mints that supposedly operate on bacteria and stuff like that. I don't know if she's telling me I had bad breath or what, but anyway.
So what does this do for you? Is it?
It's got a side effect. It's especially if you were eating them like I was eating them, which is like candy. They're very tasty, and all of a sudden, oh man, I itched, and I scratched my ankle, and I said, "Oh my goodness, that felt good." And before long, it was like I had poison ivy just all up and down my legs, and it's like, but it felt so good. I've never had scratch and feel so good. So I looked up xylitol, and sure enough, it causes itching in a lot of people, and obviously it nailed me. And it can cause shingles, which is would be nerve related.
Have you not had the shingles vaccine?
I've had chickenpox vaccines, and that's the same thing. It's basically chickenpox coming back.
Well, but they make a shingles vaccine that you can.
No, I'm done with big pharma. There will be no vaccinating for me from now on.
It's not a fake COVID vaccine. Oh.
Yeah. Oops. That's all right.
I think all the COVID vaccines are valid. That's not what I meant. What I meant was it's not like other stuff that is fake.
Yeah, that Anthony Fauci guy is looking out for us all the time. Yeah, you bet.
Yes. Thank God for what's his name? Fauci. Our
demigod Fauci. Yes, he is.
Is anybody watching our thing tonight?
Not that I can detect looking at the comments. No.
Okay.
But we did get quite a number checked us out last week, or at least dropped in for a quick look or whatever they did. Had about in the 40s. That's not bad.
No, that's not bad at all. That's not bad at all. I am looking for a book on my shelf. I bet you had this book at one point.
Let's look.
The Human Figure in Motion.
Oh yeah, sure. That's a great book. That's seminal stuff. I think everybody, when they saw that, I think 1 million light bulbs went off over people's heads, and light bulbs hadn't been around for that long.
No, yeah, not at this point. My bridge was like in the 30s, I think, or something.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I think they were still playing with the filaments for what would make a light bulb.
Is it cotton? Is it wax?
Yeah, exactly.
Is it zinc? What is this?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find.
I think they used bamboo at one point. I think it was one of their more successful efforts.
Only in our Asian countries. Asian countries.
Daniel Johnson is here. I think I've heard that name before.
He? Yeah, we know Daniel. That's the writer. That's the writer.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, you're right.
I've got that much retention. Yeah, I remember.
No, gotcha. Well, it could be the xylitol.
Xylitol.
Jeez. Anyway, so I'm trying to find. So the script. I shouldn't say this with Daniel watching because he'll see all my secrets. So this is page 7, and the script has the guy running, but I don't. But he had kind of fallen on page 6. And he's running at the top of page 6. So I don't want him running again. I want to make him crouching like he's getting up. Mm-hmm. And so I thought in here, I would look on my phone, but I'm using my phone to broadcast.
Yeah, get all those great views of from every instance of a movement.
I thought I'd find a good picture because there's a lot of like getting up and jumping. And so I don't want him running like that. I don't want to just repeat a running pose from the other page.
It's amazing that guy's primitive tripwire engineering nobody's really matched it. I think a lot of people tried to do the exact same thing with much more sophisticated equipment. And the look of that stuff is just fantastic because he thought it so through and the aesthetics are so good. And I don't know. It's just, it's a great book. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you'd frozen for a second.
No. I was looking. So I think this is the kind of pose I want, where he's like getting up. It's back. The bad thing is I've used this particular sequence, a guy getting up from lying down before.
Sure.
The bad thing is they don't have the front pose, so I have to extrapolate it. But that's okay. I mean, that's
where my little poser guy would be great. I can turn him around anyway. But when you realize that, Jack Kirby did like 2 or 3 poses, he just repeated all the time. The forward running thing and stuff like that. And it was always, all he had to run through his head for his armature was like, okay, one arm back, one leg. As a matter of fact, I'm kind of doing it right now. As a matter of fact, I'll bring this leg forward, arm forward. Yeah.
So anyway, so I want this guy like getting up, because I didn't follow the script, but I made him in the script. He's like the script says he's landing hard. So I kind of drew him like twisting his ankle, sort of, he's kind of landing, and I put little lightning bolts off of the angle.
Daniel says, how about him landing the hero's landing?
Well, I'm going to get to that. The classic cliche.
Just down the ground like he's pushing himself back up. Yeah. Well,
that is a thought. Well, he hadn't jumped. Well, we don't see what's happened. I messed up the thumbnails. Because I had him. I didn't include. Daniel wrote one thing and I drew something different. So
you got to refer to your Daniel.
My script. This is where I get fired.
That thing you've got with the that guy's technique that you just recently got, that IDW book on. That Marvel or Daredevil.
Oh, I see what Daniel's saying. Yeah, that makes sense. You're right, Daniel. That would be a good kind of that rising pose. I don't know.
Looking at these Sprys, it just makes me want to grab 3 of them and stick them in my mouth. But it's empty now. I threw them away.
They'll make it itch. You threw them away.
Oh yeah, I had to.
Are you using the toothpaste?
Oh yeah, the toothpaste's okay because you don't swallow it, and it's or not much of it anyway. And I'm just about back to normal. It was a good solid 2 days where the itching was just like, oh my God. Jeez. Like I say, I've never had so much pleasure from scratching, but it was also scary to think about.
This is like a sign that you're old when you enjoy scratch. I used to work with a guy, and his thing was stretching. He would sit in his chair and he'd just be like, ah, and it's like, good. He's like, no, stretching. That's the ticket, man. Stretching.
Oh yeah. In a hard day, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay, we're gonna gloss over that. But I
can't draw tonight, but that's all right.
It is weird. It's funny.
Come back some other day.
Sometimes on live stream, it's like, oh gosh, stage fright.
Yeah, no, it's not so much stage fright. It's just like
inability.
The part of the brain needs to connect. Up. Yeah. I was seeing somebody trying to talk about intuition. These guys that have these great little clickbait YouTube channels where they have self-improvement, self-help stuff. And it's like, become an intuitive genius in 5 minutes. And of course you're going to click that.
Why not? 5 minutes, man. What a deal.
Not much time.
No, yeah. I'd spend that. Yeah, I mean, you do that in the bathroom.
And this guy was, he was programming. I didn't even know they did competitive programming. But basically, they'll have a problem, and it's like up to everybody, like a chess problem or something. Everybody tears into it and see who solves it the best, which is, that's a step above learn to code. It's like now learn to, rule the world with it, I guess, basically. Let everybody know how
Yeah.
good you are.
All that learn to code stuff, I feel like, I mean, I don't know. I'm not a programmer. Oh, I did take a programming class in high school, but it seems like, I mean, the programmers that I've talked to, they're like, I just cut and paste stuff. So
Well,
it's
but
like,
a lot of it is that. A lot of it is that being smart enough. That Chat GPT is like in English. You're asking what you're saying. Hey, do this for me in Python, and you aren't having to figure out the syntax. It'll write you some perfect Python code. Now, whether or not you can ever talk it into writing exactly what you need, that's the challenge. But you can
right,
get back code that will compile from Chat GPT.
the robots will rule us all, man.
Yeah. I was watching last night this Route 66 with the girl that was in the bad seed, and a little more up, about 5 after the bad seed, Patty McCormick. And Martin Milner was off screen pretty often he was learning programming. And of course, this was 64, 65 programming. So he was in a big room full with UNIVAC looking machines. And this
Nice.
guy was lecturing about loops and stuff like that. And it was pretty funny because at that level, when they're just starting out to start lecturing you about programming, your average person kind of understands what they're talking about,
Yeah. Sorry,
But
I'm reading through the rest of the script to figure out if I need to end
sure.
where I think I need to end.
Yeah. You ought to, print you out a special script that's got that sort of spacing that fellow had to where you can actually just draw on your script.
Like this?
Yeah. Oh, really? Is that how you're doing it?
Yeah, I make a so
That's
well.
what Doug does. He prints out a script that gives him
So
room to do that. He uses the back of it in some sort of special way. I forget what.
well, let me see if I got one of those. I didn't do it on this one. So here's what I did. I when Dan sent me the script, I made what I called a script document, and so I
Mhm.
printed. I put a picture for reference. I put a picture of the character. I put some of the bad guys that he had sent me these pictures, so I printed this,
Uh-huh.
and then I printed the script in here, and then I just stapled the whole thing,
Cool.
and I
Yeah,
put a 11. So it's and I put tape over it so I don't
yeah,
hurt myself.
it's
But
like you're working script. Hey,
right,
hey,
but what?
for some reason, Daniel wasn't showing up in my comments things. Now we've got a whole big catch up to do with him. Here we go.
Oh
You
gosh.
want to look at
Okay.
it?
Yeah. I'm watching them up there.
Fist down on the ground like he's pushing himself. Okay, we already saw that
Okay.
one.
I got that. Yeah.
I like the idea of him stumbling. It shows this is his first night on the job,
Okay. Good.
and he is not a seasoned pro.
No.
And
It's a
getting
rookie.
used to this tech. Yeah, getting used to tech is fun, like Rocketeer.
Yeah.
Go with him getting up, and I will add a line about getting up.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's the thing, Leo. Whatever Scott does, it's not impervious to being, treated Marvel
No.
style, where Stan Lee
Right.
comes along and says, "Ha, I will give this caption to this Jack Kirby brilliance,"
One of
and it
the
will surprise
things.
him and anger him at the same time.
No. One of the things that I like about our working process. So the last comic I worked on, I was because I was lettering it, and I was drawing it, inking, and lettering it. I was reluctant to make any changes to the script, and there were certain spots where I was like, "This would be better if I could do this,"
Mm-hmm.
and I think there were a few times I reached out to the writer. I don't want to make it sound like he's a horrible guy or whatever, but it just I don't know. To me, it just works better if the guy that's lettering it is also whether he's the and I don't know if Dan's lettering it, but to me, it works better if the scripter looks at it after the
The art.
art. Yeah. Because he may come up with
Well,
stuff
and
where
of
it's like,
course, the EC thing is the other exact opposite. They had to, they got the page layout says, here's my beautiful text. Here's
didn't they?
right.
Didn't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. They were already lettered and
Yeah,
ready
it
to
was.
go.
What was that? A Leroy machine they used?
Yeah, yeah.
You ever
That's sort
use a
of.
Leroy machine?
I have, yeah. Not for
Yeah,
much, but I knew what was up with them. Yeah,
the
how to
lettering.
use it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the lettering at in those comics looks like a Leroy machine.
Hmm.
Which I
Yeah.
mean, hey, who could argue? It was weirdly it had a look that worked.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah. Anytime you make some sort of style decision and stick with it, after that point, it's like, nobody else can say, well, I'm going to do this instead. You can't. You've got a house style at that point, and you think you want to have like that's where heavy metal uh, kind of flies apart as far as I'm concerned, because they tried to stuff all those Euro artists together with American sensibilities and all that. And you look at it and you go, well, let's see, this issue, I like 15% of this issue.
Yeah.
And, it's like, if they had some sort of like Mad, which dates to the EC era and sensibilities, is, you'd have guys you knew could produce the house look. Marvel had the house look for ages. They said, try to look like this guy Jack. And of course,
Yeah.
a lot of them bridled at it, but I think all of them respected Kirby enough. It's like, hey, I can get something out of copying a little bit of this guy.
Yeah.
I think Steranko always kind of liked copying Kirby a little bit. Obviously he was ready to be cut loose, but I think he appreciated the idea of trying to copy Kirby.
Yeah, I mean, well, and there's something to be said. I mean, I've been reading a lot of, which, by the way, Daniel, I don't mind if you edit it after I draw it. Hey, at that point, it's on you.
Yeah, that's right.
I've been looking at a lot of Bronze Age comics lately, and it's funny. Even it's how seamless a lot of that style stuck together, but everybody looked unique. If you know what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody acts like, oh, back when there was a house style, everyone drew the same. It's like, well,
not really, yeah.
Not really.
It's hard to get that out of anybody. You can't get somebody to pull it off all the time. Herb Trimpe could try to be Kirby as much as he wanted to be, but he
was Herb.
He just couldn't quite do it.
Yeah, I've been picking up these. Tomorrow's has these books. There's one on Herb. There's one on Herb Trimpe. I got one on Don Heck. Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, have you seen?
I think a lot of people malign him, don't they? I don't know.
Yeah, Don Heck is the guy that gets maligned a lot.
Oh, maybe that's who I'm really thinking of. I remember one guy would turn around. This was back during my weird period immediately after college, where I was living with it was my main doper period. And this guy that was a big comic book fan, he's all kind of a semi-contortionist. He's always in some weird position on the floor reading comics. He would twist around, slap his comic and says, I hate this Don Heck for this comic, Then he'd put on some some music he liked and change comics or whatever, That was life back then. God. When I think of wasted years, I think I could, if I could do a back and fill on all that, I'd basically be able to just start over in terms of like waste.
I mean, you say that, but you've had a pretty good career. Yeah. I mean,
had a good run.
You did have a good run.
Everyone is being taught by the same people at Kubert, and everyone looks the same. Yeah, looking like Joe Kubert or his son is not too bad a
Aspiration.
Aspiration, something you finally get to, that's what I'm saying. A penalty. Yeah, it's not too bad a penalty. Don Hett needs more love. Very underrated talent.
Yeah, I agree. The so Herb Trimpe, so two things about Herb Trimpe. One, in the '60s, somebody did a movie about him, like a student film called "We Love You, Herb Trimpe."
Ah,
and
cool.
and it's on YouTube, and it's a little thing about him. It's interesting because it has stuff at the Marvel office back in the day. So that's pretty cool. Also, Herb Trimpe was the guy that in the '90s, after the comics imploded or exploded or what, I guess imploded in the '90s, he was laid off by Marvel. He just got less and less work, and he wrote an article, and he was probably late 50s, maybe a little bit older than me when he stopped getting regular Marvel work. And he kind of went through almost like a depression about it. And he wrote an article about it in like the New York Times or something. And in that Herb Trimpe book, that's in there too. That article.
I got to find that on. Okay, Herb Trimpe YouTube. I'll find that tonight.
Yeah, that article's probably online. But about him, and then what he did is he went back to school and he became a teacher. But I mean, our friend Mike Kennedy at I don't know how old Mike is, but at a later age went back and became a teacher. So if anyone out there is listening,
is he doing that in New Mexico?
He's in Texas, but he did his schooling in New Mexico.
Okay.
So if anybody's listening and you want to be an artist and you go to school, back up your plan with a teaching degree. There are much worse things, I think. Even though I wouldn't want to do it, but
No, I wouldn't either. Oh man.
Yeah, your mom was a teacher though, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was.
There you go.
The only time Trimpe stumbled was when Marvel tried to get him to draw like the Image guys. Oh man.
Yep.
That period was deadly in the early 90s.
And what's funny, well, hang on, let me grab this book. It's right over here. What's funny is when you look at his work from that period, it's better than a lot of the quote successful, not the main guys necessarily, but some of the like second tier Image guys, the guys that came on in the second wave. It's better than some of that,
Yeah.
So
the Image guys were, they rolled in it for a while. That's for sure. And there was the main guys that realized it still had to be an assembly line. They were hitting their deadlines good, and some of them just kind of drifted off because they were having too good a time just with putting out very little and making buku bucks on it with alternate covers and stuff like that.
Original art sales. So here's, I don't know if you can see this. Here's some of his from the time in the '90s. And you could see he was kind of emulating what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see if I can find some more.
Did you ever hear about Trimpe's contribution to George Pratt's Enemy Ace book? Now that sounds pretty good because I like that Pratt look. I had a book of his on the wire kind of World War I artwork that was pretty cool.
See, look at this. That's cool.
Oh yeah, very nice. Oh, very nice. I mean, super, super solid art.
Oh yeah. I mean, a guy that kind of got a lot of grief that I like now is Rich Buckler.
Trimpe had his own biplane. He took George up so he could get the feel for flying in one. Wow, interesting. Huh.
Oh yeah, here's the article about the movie about the Trimpe.
Oh, how about that?
I'm trying to see. I think there's a picture in here of his biplane. It talks about his biplane.
Trimpe, we love you.
Yeah,
check that out.
I look at that, man. Tell me that's not cool. How cool is that, man?
That is really cool. Is that Trimpe's pencils?
Yeah.
Because, boy, that's all he needed was just a slightly better inker then, because everything was there. I'm impressed by that.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of bought this on a whim, and I was really impressed with here's the thing about the New York Times article. Basically, I forgot about this. He's 56 years old, 2 kids in college, and didn't have a job.
Yeah,
But he kept
that could freak you out a little bit. Yeah,
his
lots of
he was
angst. Go ahead.
yeah he was told that he should keep a journal, and so it's expert excerpts from his journal.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
but yeah, this is a pretty good book. I've picked up a bunch of these tomorrows, the different Bronze Age type guys
Mm-hmm.
I say guys, I guess it's all guys. I got John Severin, I've got Don Heck, I got the Dave Cockrum one. It's good
Mm-hmm.
stuff. It's a shame because the industry is uh so I don't know if it's corrupt or just so mismanaged or whatever, that some of those guys like really struggled for money and stuff in their later years.
Yeah.
And it's like, golly, what kind of industry,
Well,
an
yeah, it's
entertainment industry that has, well, our workers are so poorly paid and so poorly compensated. It's like a step above a guy that, or a lady that's like putting together dresses in like Depression era Manhattan, in some
hmm
sweatshop. And because of that, we have to have this organization to take care of them in their old age. It's like,
hmm
good grief, and it's just so much entertainment and so little reward for 90% of the people that ever work in the field. The image guys and the people that really made money are just so rare in the history of comics that it's
Oh
it's
yeah,
just
yeah. No, no.
horrible.
There's no mechanism for making money in comics unless you're doing something that's semi gimmicky or whatever, man, Skyver is. People said Kirby was washed up at 40, and then at 44 he created the Marvel universe.
Yep, yep, that's true. That's one thing is art, and certainly comics. As long as you can hold a pencil and see, you know,
Yeah.
I mean, people have problems where but I mean, theoretically, if you take care of yourself
hmm
and you're fortunate, you don't run into health things, which I mean, anybody can run into health things, but if you don't run into health things, I mean, you can draw for theoretically the rest of your life. There's certainly
Well,
artists that,
that's why I love that Simon and Kirby library of that horror. It showed you how little he had to put into it during that era. He had to have been kind of bored with it, but basically all it was the kind of like storyboard basics of how to stage people in a room talking to each other, and 90% of it,
yeah,
make it interesting. If you can do that, you can do that genre that he was up to is basically one step beyond stories,
yeah.
or Twilight Zone, whatever, whichever TV serial. Boy, I can't draw tonight. Whew, Jesus.
I've some of the stuff I've been seeing of yours on Tumblr I really like, man.
Yeah, I probably ought to switch to a pencil. That'll probably help me. That's a big old uh, 10B or something like that just makes a big old mark.
Yeah, there you go. Uh, when we were out of
I
town,
think it is because comics were seen as junk culture. Yeah, true.
sure,
Comics weren't
and
legit until you, but now they're junking that up. So it doesn't matter. I mean,
yeah,
if it comes totally around,
I
it's
liked it
it's
better when it
always
was
been.
junk.
Yeah, exactly. You know, it's, I can't read that. In regards, that is, yeah. In regards to it being accepted as art, yeah, it
Sure,
is. It's art. It is art. I mean,
oh, absolutely,
it's got brackets that go as high as Frazetta dabbling at it to Al Williamson producing an incredible amount of work that is just par excellence. You know, Al Williamson is, he's up there with all those greats that were syndicated.
oh yeah, yeah, oh yeah. I Yeah, when we were in San Antonio, I went to the art supply store and they had a display of Wolf carbon pencils. Oh, my head's in the way. Sorry about that. And I was like, oh, I had one at one point and I lost it. It's like, oh, I want another one. And the only one they had on the thing was completely empty except for one, and it was split down and I'm like, I'm not paying $3 for a split pencil. Are you insane?
Hey, speaking of art supply, did you see that note I sent you about
Blue tack?
Blue tack. Do you own any of that, or have you ever heard of it?
No, I'll check it out.
I think it's just that stuff that you put on the back of little posters when you don't want to get your bonus when you move out of the place, or your deposit.
I gotcha.
It's that
that's the opposite.
low tax stuff that doesn't leave a mark.
So I've been drawing with this pencil lately.
Let's see.
I don't know if you can see. It's just a 0.5 millimeter pencil, but it's got I don't think I can demonstrate it. It's got a thing where it's got a little bit of spring in the when you push on it. I kind of like it. It's like, I don't know if it's to keep it from breaking,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Anyway, I've been drawing with that lately. Well, now I'm drawing with an H pencil because I'm doing my layout. But
Dan has been saying about all these other brilliant artists of that era.
Oh, absolutely.
Ayers, Colin, Ramita. Big names that created $1 billion industry, and all it took was the movie-making tech to catch up to them. Yeah. Movies and CGI and all that. But you get a movie where people just go nuts for it, and because it's using, even though even like a Mad Max, that most recent Mad Max, it had practical effects all through it, yes, but they're also using the heck out of computers to green screen erase that.
Oh, sure.
Do lots of stuff.
Well, I'm in favor of practical effects, but yeah, there's all kinds of
Did you
tricks.
read that Tarantino book on
yes
movie reviews?
Yep, that was 70s? A great book.
It is a great book. And am I remembering this correctly? He does mention the New Centurions, maybe that came out in 1972, and it would be one that impressed him. Well, I watched it on Tubi the other night, and I got to tell you, that movie needs to be seen again, because we're talking about 1972, and George C. Scott has a little speech where he talks about, well, what's happening now is that we're going away, basically. It's all going away. What they're doing now is they've decided it's easier that rather than trying to stop crime, stop evil, is to just change the laws to where you are no longer breaking the laws.
Oh, my gosh.
It's total prophetic stuff coming out of Scott's mouth for about 2 minutes solid, talking about how society has to treat things very shortly. You just got to make it legal because they can't cope with it.
That's like the drug laws in every blue state, every blue city.
Yeah. It's like make it illegal. We give up.
We give up? Why should this be illegal?
Mm-hmm. But yeah, if you've never seen it, absolutely see the New Centurions. And
I made a little note. I'll watch it on Tubi. I have Tubi on my.
Jeez, see, I had this impression. I had seen it, and I thought George C. Scott was doing his barking and growling at people all the way through it. Heck no, there's just a little island of that where he does it just a little bit, but most of the time he is just the most. It's just the most human guy you've ever seen. And it's like, golly, that guy is fantastic as an actor. Keach was, Oh, Scott Wilson, he was in The Walking Dead and a couple of things. I loved him in Castle Keep. He was a great actor. He's in it. Eric Estrada. It's just
really?
pretty much his first role. It must be how he got chips. It'd have to be. And who else was in that thing? God, I better not blank out again like I did last time. I know enough this time that I'll come back.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Are you having issues?
Well, I just saw it go down and come back up. They laid the foundation. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Layered. Laid. Yep, you're right.
Well,
yeah, those artists were that's the foundation. Yep.
So Dan said all of this, something along the lines of all the CGI in the world doesn't have the earnestness of Chris Evans as Steve Rogers. I completely agree with, and that right there, in my opinion, tells you what's wrong with the MCU now.
Mm-hmm.
So
why didn't he just kill it as the Human Torch? Was he just not made to be the Human Torch?
Well,
that's what amazes me.
He wasn't. He was written differently. He wasn't written as Captain America. And I don't know how much of that is him and how much is the writing. But I mean, man, later movies are just, oh my gosh, I can't take them. I need to. I haven't watched Black Panther. I need to watch it. I've got it on Disney Plus. I just hadn't sat down and watched it. Somebody told me it's 3 hours long.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I can't. It's hard.
I've seen it. It was one of those. Yeah, I can't see the. It just seemed like the entire country went nuts for praise for it, and it's like, yeah, okay, it's another one of these. Okay, I get it.
Yeah.
James Gunn, that Suicide Squad movie, that was nice and jokey and campy, and I did enjoy it. And I think that guy is positioned right now because, this Ant-Man movie is apparently flopping. Gunn is positioned with the guy as the honcho on DC right now to show off the fact that Marvel really, on a lot of levels, can't compete with the appeal of some of that DC stuff.
I like somebody said DC has better characters, but Marvel has better stories, I think is what somebody told. I wouldn't agree with that. I mean, I know Dan has told me he's a DC guy, but I was never a DC guy. But I can see the appeal of it.
I was more a DC guy than Marvel at the age when it mattered, 10 through 13 or whatever, where I was really paying attention to them. And I also loved Gold Key comics. I thought those looked very exciting to me, with fairly often a painted cover and
yeah, they were an
Magnus Robot Hunter, and wow, it's like, ooh, these guys know what they're doing. Dr. Solar.
Oh yeah, I'm reading a book about Steve Ditko, and it's talking about how when they did Watchmen, originally it was going to be with several of Ditko's characters. It was going to be with the Blue Beetle, the Dr. Adam, and then the Question, I think it is, and which of course that became Rorschach. God, I can't. What's the blue guy's name? I can't think of it.
Dr. Manhattan.
Dr. Manhattan, and then the Owl. The Owl.
Yeah.
And
Owl.
it made me want to rewatch that movie. Because
I've watched that not too long ago, and you just love that guy. That guy is one of those. He was a child actor, the guy that played Rorschach, and he had quite a run. Of course, he was in the Bad News Bears. He was great in the Bad News Bears.
Was he really? Oh my gosh!
He was the guy that took no guff from Walter Matthau. Can you imagine being that age and playing opposite Walter Matthau and having to out-gruff him? It's like, or out attitude him. He was good.
Hey, Daniel's right. The Black Cricket's going to own every Marvel and DC character.
There you go. Well, just evoke some of that. You're in the You're in the money.
Yeah. Just remember, I was part of the team that got you there, even if I wasn't one of the original ones.
Yeah.
I was part of it. I contributed. I'm not even worried about the money unless it's a lot of money, but I'm not even worried about the money.
That's
I just don't want to get shoved to the curb.
Yeah. He was also in an episode of Shazam. Oh yeah. Oh, the guy. What is his name? Now I can't think of it. I think he's got like three names.
Oh yeah.
His middle name or something. Anyway, he's great.
Andrew
He was
Lloyd
also
Webber.
Something like that. He was also in the one about the breaking away. He was great.
About the bicycle racers.
Yeah. He's the guy. He's the little punk that wraps his hand with a towel and punches out the time clock and walks away.
Nice. I approve of that.
Yeah.
Nothing like unrestrained anger.
Yeah. It's like the actor can pull it off. Yeah, Eric Estrada in New Centurions has got to let yourself go on a Wambaugh. His era, is kind of gone, kind of like the guy that wrote all those Jacqueline Suzanne competition. The guy that wrote the Carpetbaggers. What's his name?
I have no idea. The Carpetbaggers?
Okay. Oh, you don't remember that era, do you? That's before your time. No, I can't think.
I'm writing all this down.
Oh, the Carpetbaggers? You've never seen the movie The Carpetbaggers? That's pretty interesting. George Peppard. See, it's a thinly veiled. Jack, thank you. I needed that. I didn't want to get off on another channel because I might crash us. Jackie Earle Haley. You are correct.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen his premier movie is called the Outside Man, which he plays. He's really young, and he plays opposite this French hitman that's been brought over by the regular mafia, because it's one of those things where we can't hit this guy. Everybody's going to know who.
Yeah, we'll bring in some outside talent.
Yeah, we got to bring in the outside talent. They bring in a French hitman, but with the obvious plan to immediately kill him to ensure that he doesn't, attribute the killing to them. And so he has to, immediately, that's a nice, good protagonist idea. So like, even though, our protagonist is, that's a very 70s movie. Yeah. You got a guy that you shouldn't have any empathy for whatsoever. He's a killer. And, but then we have empathy for him because the bad guys are worse than he is. So
right.
It's a little trick. It's tricky, but it works.
Hey, whatever works.
It's kind of like how Eastwood was. His character's like, yeah, that guy needs a bath.
Yes, of course.
It's like, I don't know, but these other guys need a bath more than him. Look at that guy smoking dope and ready to kill you with a rifle versus a long,
yeah.
You know how that went?
Yes. So what'd you do today, Ellis?
I went out for a nice lonely walk where everybody else was avoiding what little precipitation there was out there, but
it wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad at all. And as a matter of fact, it was great. Felt good. Long, lonely walk, and I worked on, I've been working trying to step off and start my my gouache painting era, and I still haven't done it because I haven't prepped my had my underdrawing enough for my confidence. I needed to have a little more drawing done, a little more solving done on it before I start slapping paint on it. And I did it today and shared that on Instagram. Got a lot of likes. Yeah, I got a lot of likes for it. That's cool. I enjoy that. Obviously, that is just a dopamine kind of thing.
Little dopamine hit. It's like a good scratch.
Yes, it is like a good scratch. And I haven't reinstituted. I don't have the addiction yet back with Twitter. I don't. I very rarely even click
Oh
the
God,
little like button or anything. I haven't retweeted anything, so I'm not really. I'm avoiding the addiction factors on Twitter. I'm kind of like saying,
God, every
you
time I
know
go,
what? They kick me off. I'm gonna just take my time getting back into digging Twitter.
every time I get on there, it's like I get sucked into somebody I know share something, and it's like, oh God, this is like this. It's like
Violence or something.
why, well, oh, I've gotten a lot of these, like, look at this, all these people are getting beat up in the streets,
Hmm.
and it's like, okay, come on, I mean, I don't want to say I don't care, because I certainly do care, but it's like, that's not why I'm on Twitter, and then it's like, well, and
To me,
then
the main thing, the damning thing about this time is the stress levels being pumped up here for no good reason.
exactly,
We could have stayed economically sound. We could be producing energy all along here, but we have been artificially stressed and put under guns that we just didn't need to be put under. And I think of this era as these, you see these headlines all the time. Someone has killed their kid and themselves. And
yeah,
you have to know that that came about from some mental affliction caused by hyper stress, that someone said, I just can't deal with this world. And without me to tend to my kid, I'm going to go ahead and kill the kid too, because
oh
I
my
worry
gosh,
how she would end up. It's
yeah,
like, what could be more damn tragic? If you wanted to paint an era, the murder suicide era of a family is this awful era. And it sure would be nice if there could be a punishment for it, but I don't think any of these awful characters will ever be punished for anything.
that's my exact thing, is I think a
I
lot
mean,
of
just think that, I
people.
mean, the COVID stuff. I mean, we literally
No, no,
can,
no, no,
I
no,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
you can put millions as the victims for that, and it's turning out
Sure.
every day that it was, obviously something
La
that,
la la la
la
la.
la la, yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's just becoming more and
Well,
more obvious every day. La la la. Yep.
the thing is I think we're in a like a pressure cooker of social media, where everyone we've reached the pinnacle. The idea of advertising is to make you unhappy with
Hmm.
what you currently own.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
social media is the pinnacle of that. It's but
yeah,
it's but it's not just advertisers doing it. It's other people who intentionally or not intentionally are saying, look, look at me, I'm doing this and you're not, so you
yeah.
should be unhappy. And so all these people are unhappy,
Hmm.
and it's like, and why? What's the aim of this? There's not. It's worse than like terrorism, because there's no point to any of this except for
Yeah, yeah.
just
Yeah, no,
just
no. Other than, I mean, I honestly think it is they are beholden to the people that are paying them the big bucks that keep them independent of the voter. It
yeah,
is
but
the
I
it
don't.
is
But
it is their patrons. They are
I think it.
patron arts now.
I just think social media is bad for people's psyche, and I
Hmm.
think a lot of people are unhappy. I mean, dude, I was at work today, and I was talking to a salesperson. It was early in the morning. She came over, and I was like, "What are you doing in our building?" And she had a situation she was trying to resolve. And dude, she started crying. This is an
Oh,
adult, and I go, it's gonna be okay. And she's like, I'm just so stressed out. And I go, why are you stressed out? Oh, I've got this, and I was like,
yeah. She just had enough
man,
on her plate to get her there.
yeah. It's like, hey, you know what? You can't live like. I didn't want to tell her that. It was like like, man, you need to. I don't know. There's something I've been reading about. I've been reading this book about Ditko, and it's not really about Ditko. It's more about philosophy as distilled through Ditko's work, and I've been reading about self-actualization, and it's this idea that if you have peace with yourself, then you reach this point to where this stuff doesn't stress you out so much. And I think people are driven away from that point, you know?
Yeah, that's the appeal to me on YouTube. All these people doing stuff where they're sharing stoicism and stuff like that. Those are always good to drop in on all those YouTube videos and say, yeah, this is right. This is good thinking here.
Yeah,
there is nothing that's in that important. And
well,
and, I dig the positivity stuff. Yeah.
Well, and I'm all about positive thinking and all that kind of stuff. And I think there's a spiritual aspect to all that too.
Sure.
And I mean, and call me crazy or whatever, but I think there's the fact that people are so unhappy. I mean, I think there's a spiritual angle to a lot of this.
Dan says, guys, I'm going to call it a night. Scott, keep up the good work. This is looking good, and we are at 1 hour 1 minute. So we. Dan
is an hour ahead of us, I believe.
Oh, really?
So yeah, so it's later in his. And I saw he said his mom used to always say there's a balance coming due, if not this life, in the next life. I think it's absolutely true.
Yeah.
Anyway. Okay, I'm done. I'm gonna go clean my car because I may sell it tomorrow.
Okay, yeah. I hope you get a good thing on it. Remember, if you get tired of just walking around, you feel like you're being ignored at the lot. Don Draper's technique is to look at your watch. Then the salesman will just appear out of nowhere. Then he realizes you're getting tired of wandering around.
No. I have a specific car I'm gonna go look at. I'm gonna maybe drive it. If it's nice, I'll let him drive my car. We'll see if we can talk turkey. If not, I'll be like, I'm not sold on it.
That car is worth a lot of money. You've treated it right.
Well, I've got a money
Reynolds moves in it. Go ahead.
Yeah, I've got a dollar figure in my head. If they can make that dollar figure work. And I like the car, then we'll make a deal. If we make a deal, I may drive it by your house and show it to you, Ellis.
Oh, okay. Ruby.
So I'll call you first, though. I won't just drop in.
Okay.
We'll see.
You know what? I finally figured out the stupid FaceTime is. I finally figured out it was well. Anyway, I'll tell you that offline here.
Okay.
You ready to end it?
Yep. Let's end it.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
See you. Thanks, Dan.